Are you ready?
I guess so. What's the drink of the day?
Hold on, I'm getting there. Hello everybody, welcome to Vigilant Citizen. My name is Josh. The drink of the day is this cherry cola that my best friends got for me yesterday. This is from Adam and Steph during our game. So I'm drinking it today. I am joined by a very special guest. You can probably see the family resemblance once again, my old man. You also have a name too, right? Growing up it was just dad, now as an adult it's old man. But I think you have a name.
Yeah, it's Tom. Legally Tommy, but I don't use that.
We're very focused on the legalities here. Yeah. So I asked him to join me to talk a little bit about your experience in, wow, that light is really coming off there, isn't it? Well, I don't have eyes today. I still have a black eye, for those of you curious. So it's starting to heal though, right?
Yeah.
It's looking better?
Especially above. The above one's about
right there. Yeah. So I'll have to go back to jiu-jitsu and get it again. Get another black eye. I'll have to let him hit me. Well, thanks for joining. I asked him to come on the show so that we could talk for hours and hours upon hours. You love talking. That's one of your favorite things to do.
Yeah, right.
To talk a little bit about his experience in the Army. So I'll help you drive the conversation. I asked him to pick like two stories that helped him become the man he is today. And he's like, well, what do you want to know? And I'm like, oh, shoot, he didn't think of two stories. That's okay. We'll work through it. Why don't you tell us a little bit first about just your career in the Army, when you joined, what rank you got to, where you were stationed. Just kind of give a brief overview of, I know it was a long and highly decorated career, but can you
Not highly decorated.
Extremely decorated career, but can you do it in like 3 minutes or 10 minutes or
10 minutes?
Keep it below 50 minutes.
Okay.
So when did you join?
March 1979.
That was before that we even had color TV, right?
No. It's before these. That's where you carry a dime in your pocket to call mom.
Yes.
Right? And you knew everybody's phone number.
That's true. Well, there were only 7 digits to memorize. So you joined, you were how old?
I joined the Montana National Guard at 17 years old.
17.
And I went to basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey.
Okay.
Now, everybody says that they were in the first class of co-ed basic training. No, I was.
Yeah.
We were the experimental class in 1979, Bravo 33, Fort Dix, New Jersey.
You were experimented upon with,
yeah, we
with
were
the ladies, okay.
With the ladies. And they were fun to be with. Yeah.
Okay, in what way?
In what way? Oh, they were so weak. I mean...
This is not a politically correct channel.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that they couldn't shoot or they couldn't run, but carrying an 80-pound rucksack at a 20-mile road march, they were done.
Yeah. Make sure this is all the way in. It's going to bother me if I don't. Okay, we're good. Right. Sorry.
So, and like when we were at the grenade range, you know, a U.S. Army grenade is the size of a baseball and the weight of a baseball because they figure every American child knows how to throw a baseball.
Going back there.
That's the old pineapple grenade.
Yeah, and it's a hollowed out one, and I can attest it's pretty heavy.
Right. So, but the new modern ones are smooth, round, the size of a baseball, and so they figure every child knows how to throw a baseball. You learn to throw a baseball. So that's why it's made that way.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes the Army does something practical. A lot of impractical. Right? They couldn't throw the baseball far enough, or the grenade, far enough from where you stand to your target. A lot of them couldn't throw it far enough. The drill sergeants had to drop them to the ground so they wouldn't get injured.
Was it a matter of strength or a matter of technique or a little bit of both? Because I know there's that stereotype, which all stereotypes exist for a reason, right? But where men will use their whole shoulder to throw, right? Whereas women tend to just use the arm here Did you see a lot of that?
A lot of that.
Okay.
But once you taught them to use their whole arm, they were okay.
Yeah.
They still couldn't chuck it 15 yards.
Sure.
Right.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
But they could get it far enough away because a grenade, 5 meters, kill zone, 10 meters, wound zone, right? So you at least have to throw it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I might be a little off on those. It could be 3 meters and 5 meters.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
It's been a while since I
Tossed a grenade.
tossed a grenade.
You don't do that on the weekends?
Nod.
You don't have any spares lying around?
Right.
Okay.
But that's the biggest thing. And then all through my Army career, I had women in some units I didn't. Right. If I was in a combat unit, I didn't have women. If I was in a support unit, I did.
Okay.
So
they kept that separate back then?
Yes.
Okay.
You would not see a woman in an infantry or tank unit or combat engineer unit.
Okay.
You just would not see that.
Okay.
Right. And there's reasons, right? And I could just see it as a mechanic in the Army, and then I'd have female mechanics. And to change a deuce and a half tire, okay, that tire runs probably 120, take it off the truck.
120.
120 pounds.
Okay. And what's a deuce and a half?
A
For those
2.5
who don't know.
ton truck.
So deuce and a half, deuce being 2.5
Yeah.
truck. Do you have a picture of it?
I can get one.
Yeah. He brought visual aids
Call the phone.
in the form of the internet. Yes. He was just telling me a story about crawling out of a vehicle while it's moving to switch drivers, but crawling on the outside, and I was confused, and then he showed me, and I was like, oh, you can crawl on that thing. I was picturing a Humvee, but it was something like this.
Right.
Can he do it? You certainly didn't have these in 1978, you said? 9?
They don't even have them anymore.
No, I meant the phone.
The phone, yeah.
There you
Can
go.
I do it?
That's too far zoomed in.
Yeah.
Zooming out a little bit.
So you guys probably seen that truck.
Yeah.
Right.
There we go. Yep. Oh, but that got a nice glare on it. There we go.
Right.
Big truck.
Yeah, you guys probably. So
there was some struggle in changing the tires on the deuce and a half.
And we didn't, you go to a truck shop and you see a big old air gun that takes these tires off, the lug nuts off like that, right? We didn't have that. We used manual
muscle?
Bruce force, right?
Yeah. Bruce Force. You had a big guy named Bruce.
Him too. Brute force.
Brute Force. Yeah.
Right. In fact, sometimes it was so stuck you'd have to put the wrench on the lug nut and then put a jack stand underneath the wrench. And then you slide the bar in it and then you take.
You jack it up.
No.
Oh.
You take these camouflage poles. They're aluminum poles, about 2.5 inches round. They slide into each other and they can make a pretty long pole.
Okay.
And you stick it on the end of the bar and you get 3 guys jumping on the other end.
Leverage. Okay.
Break it loose.
So if anybody out there was wondering, he was a mechanic in there, right? So you went to New Jersey. That's where you went
That's
for
basic training.
And then where did you go after that?
I went to what they call advanced individual training.
AIT.
Yeah, to Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Okay.
There,
Where all the gold is.
There's no gold there.
That's why you're so rich now. Gotta bring some home.
I'll tell you a funny story about Fort Knox. But anyway, went to Fort Knox, and I was training to be what they called a 63 Charlie, which was a combat vehicle mechanic. So worked on everything from the Jeep, at that time, the M60 tank, the dinosaur, right?
Okay.
So I had a 12-week school, and I had to go through what they call clusters. So I had the Jeep cluster, the deuce and a half cluster, the 5-ton cluster, the Gamma Goat cluster. That's a fun vehicle, right? And then, the 113s, then the M48 A5 tanks, but they were mainly used for bridge layers.
Okay.
And then the M60 tank. So I had to do all these clusters, and there are so many classes on each vehicle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that's one thing about the military wire 27 was ground, wire 28 was power. It didn't matter if it was in the tank or in a Jeep.
Standardized.
Standardized.
What made you? So did you have the option to go into AIT? Did you have that choice? Was that given to you, or was that
I could have
you were
been
ordered?
anything I wanted to be.
Okay.
And
Because of your charm?
no, because of my ASVAB scores.
Okay.
So everybody's taking an ASVAB
Armed
test.
Services Vocational Aptitude Battery.
Right.
Right. So it's a standardized test that you take when you go into the Army. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Even though you did it in high school.
No, not everybody did. We ended up doing it, but it was optional because our
Right.
principal wanted us to take every single standardized test and torture us. So
Right. Okay.
yeah.
You know. But anyway, so because of my ASVAB test, I could be anything I wanted.
Yeah. So you got to choose to go in. And you
right.
already had an inclination and an interest and a desire to go into mechanic work.
Right, because I did a lot with my uncles. I fixed my own cars at the time, right?
Yeah.
And some of the cars you guys would cry to have right now, I crushed them. That's why the other ones are more expensive today. You know, who knew a 70 CUDA would become a very expensive car? To me, it was $250 at the Crushers.
Yeah, but $250 back then. Today with inflation is like 10,000. So.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so you went through AIT, and where did you go after that? Were you immediately stationed somewhere? Were you ready to go out into the world?
I was in the Guard, so I went back home to Montana.
Okay.
Married your mother.
Okay.
Then joined the regular Army.
Okay. Much to her chagrin, I imagine.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So, me and your mom got married in October, and that April the next year, I went in the regular Army.
Okay, and then did you have to go through basic again?
No.
Okay.
I went straight to Fort Lewis, Washington.
Okay.
Right?
And it's with your National Guard experience and your AIT experience, what rank were you at that point? Did you get to go into the Army
Private
with a higher?
E1.
So you started at E1 in the Army?
E1,
Okay.
right at the bottom.
Okay.
Doink.
Yep. Okay.
And even though in the National Guard I got promoted to E2, but since I went regular Army, they said, now you're private
Yeah,
again.
it's a different,
yeah.
different branch.
So,
Yep.
and then I got stationed at Fort Lewis, Washington, Alpha 260 Mechanized Infantry.
And that's around Tacoma, right?
Just south of Tacoma.
Okay.
All right. So the view from the fort was Mount Rainier. You could always see Mount Rainier in Washington. All right.
Yeah.
So if you ever been to Washington, seen Mount Rainier, right, you probably can see that mountain from Seattle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I visited back in 2014, and I think I could see it. Yeah, if I remember correctly.
So I was stationed in an infantry unit, and we had my company. So there's 5 companies in an infantry battalion, 5 battalions in a brigade, 3 battalions in a brigade, 3 brigades in a division.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So
division, brigade, battalion, company. Okay.
All right.
And then from there, what's
Platoon.
Platoon.
Squad.
Okay. And squad. And then private Phillips.
Private Phillips. Right. So I go in there. I'm 18 at the time. I'm 18 at the time, right? And so there's 2 deuce and a halves, the truck I showed you.
Mm-hmm.
4 Jeeps, right? 14 113s,
Okay.
right? And a couple of them are specialized.
What are 113s?
Armored pillboxes.
Okay. Are they like armored personnel carriers?
Yeah, armored personnel
Okay,
carriers.
so APCs. Okay.
Yeah, they're APCs. Right.
So I only know a lot of this stuff because I was just exposed to it as a kid because I overheard him talking about a lot of it. So. Or watching you play micro armor.
Yeah, play micro armor. Come on, rotate. So that's an M1113.
Okay.
All right.
So it's a tracked.
So it's tracked, right?
Okay. Cool.
So there was 3 platoons of 4, 1 platoon of 2, and then the maintenance track. Right? I drove the maintenance track.
Okay.
So the day I got there, they unloaded it from rebuild. So
And
it's a
then they
brand.
said, here you go, Tommy. This is
Yeah,
for
here you go, Private Phillips. This is yours. Sign for this
You're not responsible for it?
$200,000 track with all its tools, right? And I mean, you signed for it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
That it's now under your care.
And then
Yep.
we also had, based on that platform, tow vehicles. So a tow is a tactical optical wire-guided missile.
Okay.
All right. So it's an anti-tank missile.
Yeah. So you got to work on the vehicle. Did it?
Yeah, the vehicle, but it
supported
looked exactly like the 113. And then we
Gotcha.
had some with mortars in it. So
Okay.
a mortar, you drop it down the tube, and it shoots a bomb out, right? And you guys can look this up. And we had 2 of those. So
On the interwebs.
on
the Google.
Right, right.
Don't use Google. It's evil. Stop using Google. How many times do I have to tell you to stop using Google? Okay, so you were there for how long?
Well, I was there till, when was that? Let's see. I got orders to Germany so I went there in 1980.
Mm-hmm.
I got orders to Germany in 81, but they delayed them because your mom was pregnant with your brother.
Okay.
All right.
Older
Brother.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Washington.
so I went January of 82 to Germany.
Okay. I'm just going to angle this a little bit more so we can see.
Right.
There we go.
But-
You and your beautiful face.
But while I was in that infantry unit, we had fun. It was called Mount St. Helens went boom, right? So, and your mom almost didn't make it there because the
Oh, the
volcano
ash.
went off, and she was coming by bus from Butte to Fort Lewis, right?
Okay.
And that's when it went off the first time. But she got there, and and then I was in the Army, and we just did things. Got really sick one time, right?
You just did things.
Well, we went out clubbing, yeah.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah. She was 18, I was 18.
You get paid.
You get
just
paid
Go
$406
drink.
$406 a month.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
In 1980?
Yeah.
Pretty good. It's
You
pretty
know?
good. If I had my phone accessible, I would check the inflation calculator to tell you what that is in today's dollars.
You know, so
480. Is that what you said?
no, it was a little more than that. So base pay was 406. I got BAQ, which was 125. So, and then separate rats, which was 95.
Okay.
No, it was less than that. It was 55.
So 1980
Yeah.
to today, and you made 480, or what's
Just call it 550.
550? 550 a month.
Yeah.
You were making 1,800 a month.
But
in
you
today's.
can't.
Look, the cumulative rate of inflation was 241%. It's amazing.
It's amazing, right?
And you said it was pretty tough working on everything during Mount St. Helens. You worked.
Well, what we did is the
didn't
volcano
sleep.
went off,
Yeah.
so they stopped all activity. You couldn't fly because the fine soot would destroy the blades on the helicopters.
I saw Dante's Peak, and I remember that happening in that movie.
Right.
Yeah.
So they waited like 3 months, and then we went to a place called Yakima, Washington, and we did it, and we go there every once in a while because about every 3 months we go there, and we go there for 30 to 60 days
To do what?
to just drive around, shoot at blanks at each other.
So this wasn't for the Army. This was.
It was for the Army. We
it was like field training.
field training, maneuvers, right?
Gotcha.
You know.
Tactics.
And that's where I worked on the tanks, because what would happen is back then you'd have, like I said, four infantry platoons in a company with a specialized platoon, right? And your mess hall, that's one of the deuce and a halves, right? And then your maintenance, that's one track, one deuce and a half, and an M578 light recovery vehicle.
Okay. So you were out there working on those while shooting blanks at each other.
While we're shooting blanks at each
Okay.
other. But my commander always liked to take the maintenance section, which was about 15 guys, and put him on a hill and have his infantry guys attack him.
Shoot at you?
Shoot at us. We were Op 4, the bad guys.
So you were punching bags.
Yeah,
professional. This is where I get this from. Being a professional punching bag.
So that's what they do with maintenance. We go sit on a hill, they attack us.
Okay.
Right.
So you're defending not necessarily a fortified position, but
just defending.
Yeah, defending a position, and they were using their maneuvers. Were they doing like moving? What is it? Cover, shoot and cover, or move and cover?
Move and cover.
Is that what it's called? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know military tactics.
But anyway, we went out there just after about 3 months after Mount St. Helens blew off, and now these 113s, right? We have 14 of them in my unit. Have a 6V53 Detroit engine in them. 2-cycle.
Good old quality American muscle.
Right. Until it
is what you're saying.
Sucks. Volcanic ash. Right? We blew 13 of the 14 engines.
Okay.
Because they suck volcanic ash.
And you were working all throughout the day, throughout the night for a couple days?
A couple days. Pulling engines.
Yeah.
Putting engines in. Pulling engines.
So replacing.
Putting engines.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was that I did that so much, I was really good at taking the engines out. I could get an engine out in an hour.
Okay. So once you got started with all of these, you were just like, I'm going to keep going, and maybe these were your orders too. I'm just going to keep going until they're all done.
No, the hard part was taking the light recovery vehicle, drive 6 miles, stop, beat its air cleaners clean. Well, the reason this happened, I forgot. The big reason this happened is Mount St. Helens went off again.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So we were out there, the volcano goes off, and we're rushing to the barracks because they had a hard place where you did maintenance before you went out and did field maneuvers. We didn't make it. All right, the volcanic ash hit Yakima before we could get back there.
Okay.
Right, and so we weren't the only unit sucking wind that day.
Yeah.
Right. So, but the 113s had paper filters, and the volcanic glass would.
If you guys haven't noticed, my dad is very detail oriented. Do you see my eyes glazing over a little bit? I am not as detail oriented. This is why I could never make it as a mechanic.
The volcanic glass would cut through the paper and get into the engine.
Gotcha.
The 578 had cloth filters.
There's going to be a quiz on this later.
Right, 578.
So
the recovery vehicle had cloth filters. So we'd drive 6 miles, beat the filters, because the engine just start puking black smoke.
Okay.
Right, because black smoke in any car,
much like some of the trucks I see on the highway,
is more fuel than air.
Yeah.
So you're dumping, when you see black smoke rolling out of your car, that's your gas just being dumped out the tailpipe. So you don't want that.
Sure.
Right? Especially at the price of
Especially
gas.
with the prices today. Yep. You beat me to it. I was going to say the same thing.
So we'd stop, we'd beat the air filters clean, put them back in, drive out and grab one track, drive out, drag it, drive out and grab another track, use two tow bars and tow 2 in at a time.
Okay.
Right? So we had to do that for like 24 hours.
Okay.
We had to go get all our tracks
No
because they were
sleep.
just spread out in a long line.
Gotcha. So no sleep for that. Okay.
Yeah.
So remember my initial question?
What?
What was? Tell us a little bit about your whole career.
Okay.
We're what, one third into it? 1/4?
The first unit.
Right. Out of what? Like 20? I don't know.
6.
Okay.
I think 6.
6 that you served in? Is that what you're saying?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, let's skip ahead. So Mount St. Helens, Fort Lewis, you said, and then Germany?
Then Aschaffenburg, Germany.
Aschaffenburg, Germany, which that's where Zach was born, my little
No.
brother. No?
No,
Oh,
that
this is the
time.
first time in Germany.
This first time.
That's right, because then you came back to Washington again.
No, we came back to Virginia. That's where you were born.
Oh, okay,
To Fort Belvoir, Virginia.
right.
And then from Fort Belvoir, I swear I was mad, man. 12 months to the day, because when I was in Germany, I had to re-enlist, right? I said, I want to stay here. I want to stay in Germany. Right?
Okay.
No, too many of your type here. Go back to the States. Right? At that time, they changed my MOS to 63 Yankee.
We don't take kindly to
Right.
folks like you here.
Yeah. All right. So,
To your kind.
so they sent me back to the States. 12 months to the day, it seemed like. It probably wasn't, but it seemed like it. They gave me orders for Germany.
To go back.
To go back.
Was it Aschaffenburg again?
No, I went to Schweinfurt.
Würzburg. Or Schweinfurt, okay.
Okay. That's where Zach was born.
Okay, yeah.
All right. You were born at Fort Belvoir.
Yep.
Right. And I was in an engineer unit then. No women.
Okay,
Okay. When I was at Fort Lewis,
yeah.
no women.
Okay.
When I went to Germany, women.
Okay.
Because we were the first time was a Lance missile unit. So that was behind the front line.
Sure.
So you shot over
Supportive.
the
Yeah.
support, right?
Okay.
Then I went back to a combat unit
So when you went to Germany the second time, what rank had you gotten up to here?
at Fort Lewis, E4,
So
specialist.
when did you make E2?
I made E2,
Was it in Washington?
yes.
Fort Lewis, and
and
then
then E3 in Washington.
As
and
well?
E4 in Washington.
the first time you were there?
Mm-hmm.
So you just ranked up while you were there?
Well, there's a bunch of stories behind those.
Sure. Okay. So you made E4 specialist
Yeah.
there, and then Fort Belvoir, then Germany, then Fort Belvoir, then back to Germany.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then from Germany, Fort Sill.
Fort Sill, Lawton, Oklahoma. Okay.
From Fort Sill, Desert Storm.
Yep.
Back to Fort Sill.
Yep.
From Fort Sill,
And when did you? Because you made E5 at
I
some
made
point.
E5 first time in Germany.
Okay. Okay.
And then got stymied.
You got stuck.
Stuck.
Well, I'm going to ask you about that, but tell us.
Okay. And then from there to Korea.
Yeah.
And Korea, I decided, time to go.
You had enough?
I've had enough. Well, actually, your mom looked at me when I came. Remember, I came home on mid-tour leave,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Mid-tour leave. And before I left Korea, they announced that you can get out if you have this many years and this much time, if you want to get out. And so when I came home, I asked your mom, I says, well, what do you think? She goes, one more in Korea and these three boys? Yeah, what do you think?
Get back here. Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Okay. And then so you came back from Korea, and that's when you started filling out paperwork or whatever.
No, I actually filled the paperwork out in Korea,
In Korea.
and got released from the military at Fort Lewis.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, so you had to go to Washington, Fort Lewis.
No, I'm sorry, Fort Sill.
Fort Sill. Okay.
And then we moved here.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be a waypoint. I was supposed to just go to trade school, make sure I was up to date on the new stuff out there as a mechanic,
Yep.
and then move back to Butte.
Automotive and Diesel School College.
Yeah.
What it's called.
Yeah. And then when I went to school, I'm like, boy, did I waste my money. Anyway,
On this goal.
I'm glad the VA paid for it.
And you got a job up here, just down the street from where we are.
Right,
today,
yeah,
in 94.
Union 76.
Yep.
Truck stop, which is TA now?
The TA now.
TA now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got out as an E5. So
E5P,
E5P. what is-
promotable.
Promotable.
In other words, if there was an open slot for E6,
You're on the short list.
I was on the short
And what's E6?
staff sergeant.
Staff sergeant. Okay.
Right.
So you said you got stymied.
Here's the thing: is I was a track mechanic. All right, so I worked on tracks. But at E6, my MOS changed from 63 Yankee to 63 Bravo, which was wheeled mechanics.
Okay.
They had too many of those guys. So as a track mechanic, my MOS was a shortage. So
Yeah.
when I re-enlisted, I could only re-enlist into shortage MOSs. Two that they offered me to re-enlist was cook, right?
Yeah.
Right?
You know you're not bad at that though.
Yeah, you don't want to be a cook in the army, right? Or airborne mechanic.
Oh, airborne.
Yeah, airborne.
What is that?
Jump out of airplanes.
That's your second favorite thing to do.
Yeah, only two things fall from the sky.
What are they?
Bird shit and fools, and I ain't either one.
Heard that since I was yay high.
Right. So I go from a shortage MOS to an overage MOS and promotion. So there was never any slots.
So it wasn't necessarily okay. So you got stymied out of. It was a numbers game. It wasn't necessarily that somebody didn't like you or something.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So what? So E5 is still commissioned, right?
Non-commissioned officer.
Or that's non-commissioned. Excuse me. And so, I guess how did you? That's supposed to be more of a leadership role,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, did you want that? Did you want to go into that for the leadership? What was that sort of leadership? What did that look like? Was it you leading the motor pool? Obviously, certain individuals there,
Squads.
Or yeah.
I had when I made E5, I was in Germany first time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Before I made E5, I was the driver to the M578. All right.
Okay.
Right, so we'll look that up.
This was before you were E5?
Before
you were the driver?
I was the driver.
Okay.
All right.
Still using Google, I see.
Well, who do you want me to use? Lost Cause?
We'll talk after.
Okay. How do you rotate this thing?
Can I see? Can I see?
Dog.
I'm here to help. We do this.
Computer whizzes.
Oh, I wouldn't say that. See, I'm struggling with it too. You should be able to just view file. Open image in new tab. There. Now where'd the tab go? These newfangled things. There it is. There it is. There it is. I think I closed everything else on accident.
Hit rotate right there.
Rotation.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
So I spent many hours and days sleeping and living in that.
And this is the thing you were talking about where you switch drivers and they crawl over the front here.
Yeah.
Yeah, not like on a Humvee or something where they're hanging off the window, off the door. Okay.
So the Army don't have those no more.
Okay, so you were the driver for that. And
before I made sergeant.
Okay.
All right. So really I was the only one because in that unit, I was the only track mechanic.
Okay. This doesn't work.
Right.
Isn't it supposed to hold it up?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So
I can barely see that.
so I was the only track mechanic.
Okay.
And, no, wait, not that unit. There was other track mechanics. So there was an E4, there was two E4s on that. So one's the commander, one's the driver.
Okay.
Right. He was senior to me. So he got to be the commander. So he's in charge of it. I'm the driver.
How was he senior in years?
Data rank. So he was promoted E4 before
you were. Okay.
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 Right. So he signed for the track. He signed for all, and that thing has tools coming out your ears on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And but when I made sergeant, role switched. Well, I didn't think it was proper that he be the driver after he is the commander, so I threw a new private. We got a new private. I threw him in there as the driver. I said, okay, because I got in charge of the squad that, so not only was I in charge of the 578, we had 3 deuce and halves and a couple Jeeps. And I was in charge of all the drivers. That was my maintenance squad. So it was a maintenance squad,
okay.
Right? So
why do you think that you got promoted before he did to E5?
He was a 63 Bravo. Right?
Okay, so once again, it was kind of a numbers game?
A numbers game. Remember, I told you Bravo, and I was a Yankee. So to get promoted at that time to sergeant, the Army works on a point schedule system back then. I don't know what they do now, but it was 0 to 1,000.
Okay.
So they called it a cutoff score. So like for him to make sergeant, he had to have 1,000 points.
And how did you get points?
Your PT test, your rifle, how many schools you went to, how many medals you got.
Okay.
Things like that.
How many points did you have when you made E5?
450.
450. That's all it took?
That's all it took.
Well, there's also a shortage too.
But I was a shortage MOS.
Yeah.
So I made E5. Right.
Okay. This is gonna fall down.
Right. So the motor sergeant made me the squad leader, right? So the motor sergeant's usually an E6 or an E7, so a staff sergeant or a sergeant first class.
Okay.
So I had all these guys that I was in charge of. There was like 14 of them.
Yeah. And so you said you made a private the driver. So where did that put you on the? What was the vehicle?
The 578.
So where did that put you on it?
That made me the commander.
But okay, so what did you do with him when he was already the commander?
I put him on the record.
Is that a different vehicle or is that?
That's a wheeled vehicle mechanics recovery vehicle. A wrecker.
Okay.
A wheeled wrecker.
So you gave him control over that one?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So that he could still have his own command.
Right.
Sort of thing.
So,
all right.
You know.
Why do you think it was important to do that?
Why is you don't want to demoralize somebody that's been in charge of something. You know. And at the time, since I was a track mechanic, the only one in that section, right? That was my assigned track. That's why I was the driver, because I was the track mechanic. So that's the only track they had in that section.
Right.
So that's my baby.
Right.
Right? Not his. His is basically the wrecker. So when I got promoted, I says, well, I'll take over the VTR. You take over the wrecker.
Did he seem happy with that?
Yeah, he was fine with that. He was glad to get rid of that 30-ton pile of junk.
So he wasn't even fully enjoying that. He was more enjoying the command, though, I imagine.
Yeah,
so,
you know, so.
Okay.
And another thing is I became a sergeant because I didn't like the way a lot of sergeants act. I had a problem with it.
You wanted to do it differently?
I didn't want to be their friends, but I didn't think you needed to be an idiot either.
Sure.
Right. I seen so many sergeants just hound their people, and then in the Army give them an Article 15, which is like a demotion. So they'd be an E4, they'd demote them to E3, take 2 months pay.
For what? What did they do to deserve
getting
that?
drunk.
Okay.
You know, I tell you a story about Fort Belvoir and somebody getting drunk. Okay. And I thought that was idiotic. I thought that was idiotic.
They were being too hard on him?
They were being, not too hard. I didn't mind being hard on you.
Sure.
I didn't need to break you.
The punishment didn't fit the crime.
Right. I didn't need to break you to get you to do what I want you to do.
Okay. So what was your approach? How was your approach different?
It's like I had a guy named Bardo, Specialist Bardo. Every time we went to the field, and in Germany, all of Germany was a field. You'd drive through a town, park in their parking lot, throw your camouflage net up, you're out in the field.
Yeah.
The old the old lady that owned the baker would bring you out baked goods in the morning.
Sounds nice. Right. Sounds like a pretty good deal.
Right. So, you know, so the biggest thing was weapon security. Make sure you know where all, they call them sensitive items. Your night vision scopes, your machine guns, your gun.
Yep.
Right? Shouldn't be calling it a gun, call it a weapon in the military.
Yep.
Right. Make sure you know where that stuff's at. He had a bad habit of leaving his lay around.
Okay.
Right? Bad habit, right?
So he'd grab that delicious freshly baked bread and leave his rifle here while he was consuming said delicious bread.
No, consuming. What if the old granny wasn't that nice and just takes it?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? So we would. I would always find his weapon. I'd always find it, right? And finly, and I'd do things to him, right? Like
I would
do 28 count push-ups with your rifle.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know what an 8 count push-up is?
Is it when you take 8 seconds to go down?
No. Yeah.
Okay, tell me. Oh, it's 8 point, right? The 8 point.
So you drop down.
Yeah.
That's 1. Kick out. That's 2.
So
do 2 push-ups.
Okay.
That's 4, 5, 6. Right?
Did you count that right? Down is 1. Kick
down
out
is 1. 2.
And then push up.
Push up. Once down. 1 point down.
Oh, 1 point down.
1 point up. 1 point down. 1 point up. Kick in is 7 and up is 8.
So kind of like burpees almost.
Burpees.
There wasn't a jump, but yeah. Okay.
So burpees, but with a push up in between.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. If I would have known about jumping, I'd add that to it.
Yeah, it could be 7-8. Yeah.
All right. So I'd make him do those. I'd put him on extra guard duty, you know, because you left your weapon at the guard point. So now instead of being there 2 hours tonight, you get to stay 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Right.
Yeah.
But after 4 or 5 field problems that we call them, we go out in the field for 2 or 3 days, come back, you know, just exercise the equipment, I think, exercise the brains.
Yeah.
Right.
Get some sunshine.
Hey, I'll tell you about MREs too when they first came out. But anyway, so like the 4th time I think we was out and I found his weapon, right? And then not only did I find his weapon, he's supposed to be on guard duty and he's sleeping. Right? Oh boy. So you could, in a military, actually really cook this guy's goose.
Right.
Right. You could really,
if you so chose to.
If I so chose.
And you, from your experience, other sergeants would have.
They would have destroyed
him.
the first time.
Yeah.
The first time they would have. But he was a good guy. He was a good wrench. He could fix stuff. He was smart.
Yeah.
He was just an idiot about his rifle.
Okay.
All right, so that's what I looked at. What is this guy good?
You were looking at the whole picture.
Right?
Okay, not just the one thing.
If I bust him, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I'm going to destroy his morale, right? Then he's going to hate the Army. Mm-hmm. Then he's going to hate me. Mm-hmm. And then I won't get anything out of him.
Yeah.
But a pain in the ass.
Yeah. He'll fight you every step of the way from here on out.
Right.
Oh, I think that's a good way to look at it. So what did you end up doing with him on the 4th one?
So on the 4th one, we got back to what we call garrison. That's when you're back on base and you're just being normal. You're not out in the field, right?
Right.
Running around with 80 pounds of gear on it.
Right.
So I made this 2x4 with a rope, and I rode on this M16.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Remember I told you Germany, all of Germany's a post? I handed it to him, says, if I see you downtown dancing with your girlfriend, you better have this with you.
Okay.
Right? And I said, this is your last chance. If you don't do this, I will have to do drastic measures. I will have to kick it up the line.
Yeah.
Because you were getting too relaxed with your rifle.
Yeah.
You need to keep your rifle, especially when we're out in the field, where it's within hand's reach.
Old ladies. Bakers, children.
Yeah, yourself.
Oh, you're talking about the plank. The plank. Yeah, I meant the actual rifle itself.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Yeah, so the plank, the 2x4, which was about 36 inches long, and I put a rope on it, right? And he had to come to formation with that, right? So in the morning when you come in there and PT, the first morning with PT with that, right? The first sergeant looks at it. And he says, Bardo, what are you doing? Well, Sergeant Phillips gave me this, right? And the first sergeant looks at me, talk to you later, Tom. Right? So he had to do PT with this thing.
Yeah, good.
Right? Good. Right? 10-mile run, strapped to his back.
How much did it weigh, do you think?
I don't know, 2x4, maybe a pound.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's more unwieldy than it is heavy.
Or you feel stupid because you have it.
Yeah.
Right? It's more
and
of
everybody's looking at you weird.
Right. It's more of like a conscious thing. Like, what did you do?
Yeah. So you incorporate like a social element to it, to his punishment. No, I like it. Yeah, because now he's dealing with not just the weight of it, even if it's not that much, but now he's dealing with carrying it everywhere and carrying it on post and carrying it. He's going to the
bar.
The bar or the commissary or something, pick up groceries, and he's got it with him.
He's got it with him.
Okay.
You know, so, and like I told him, I see you downtown with your girlfriend, you better have it with you.
Yeah. Did you see him downtown or anywhere
I
at all?
went looking for him.
Okay. Did you find him?
Yeah, I found him. I knew where he hung out, where his girlfriend, because his girlfriend worked at this, and she was German, worked at this one guest house. So I figured, okay, if I'm going to find him in he's going to be there.
Yeah.
Sure enough, I walk in, the first thing he does, he holds it up.
Shows it to you?
I just turn around and walk.
Just walk back out.
That was on a Friday night, right? So that Monday morning, it was a week. I made him carry it for a week.
Okay.
Right? And the first sergeant asked me, says, what are you doing? I go, look, he leaves his rifle everywhere. He's a good wrench. He's a good guy. He's a good soldier. And just trying to get him to realize that how important it is for him to hang on to his weapon.
Yeah.
Right? And the first sergeant says, I don't care. Just deal with it the way you want to deal with it.
Because you reported to him, the first sergeant?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's an EA.
So that's actually really cool that he let you deal with it the way you saw fit. Because you probably could have come to him and said, hey, what did you say, Article 15? I demoted him. And he probably would have been
the officer has to do it. You have to take him to your company commander.
Okay.
And he gives him the article.
You have to get approval. But you could have run him through that.
Process.
And aimed for it.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of cool that your E6 said, hey, you're going to handle it this way. That's fine. Just get it done.
Right.
You know,
well, my motor sergeant was an E6, and he looked at me and said, what are you doing? I go, it's my squad. And he goes, yep, that's what I told you. It's your squad.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
So did it work?
Yes,
it did.
It worked. The next time we went, he would show me every time. He's like, got it, got it.
I actually got to say, I really like that, incorporating, because, yeah, you could have been a complete hard ass and completely destroyed him to prove a point to everybody else, too. Right? But instead you saw, he's good at what he's here for.
Right.
This is a tertiary thing. You need to have your weapon on you because if we get attacked or whatever. And also to prevent little old bakers from grabbing it. So
and selling it to the Soviets.
Yeah, exactly. So that they could tear it apart and learn more about it. So you saw that there was more to him than just this one flaw, and you just had to correct that flaw.
Right.
And I really like the solution you came up with, which was really creative because it blended so many different things. Like I said, the social element, and obviously there's the weight, and then the threat of you coming and watching him. So you and you also gave him very specific, very real consequences. If you don't do this, I have to take drastic measures. And he probably knew what you meant by that.
Right.
Article 15, maybe worse, maybe something a little close to it or something. So instead of just like springing it on them, because I think that's really important when you're leading people, is that they need to be very clear on what the consequences are. You can't be making them guessing and having them wondering. They should wonder a little bit what you're thinking, but not to the extent that they're confused and they have no idea what to do. So it sounds like you gave very clear direction, and you said, here's what happens when you veer off of it. So I really like that story. That's a good one. Did you enjoy doing that kind of stuff, working with people? Because you made him better. It was tough in the moment, I'm sure, but you made him a better person. You made him a better soldier.
Even today, even my last job, my job was basically teaching mechanics how to be a mechanic.
Yeah.
Right. And I always enjoyed that. In the Army, I always had to teach them how to be a mechanic and a soldier. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. So it didn't matter where I was at, same thing. Everybody's, right, when you're in the Army, there's one MOS, everybody is, and that's 11 Boogaloo, infantry. You got to know how to shoot, you got to know how to take care of yourself, because, if you're a cook and they get overrun, who's shooting? You are. You know, so.
Yeah. There's a baseline that everybody has to meet.
Has to meet.
Yeah.
And that's what basic training's for. Is everybody? That's all infantry training.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
Right. Teach you how to be a soldier, an infantry soldier. So. Yeah, and so I taught everybody what I was supposed to do. As a sergeant, that's your job. And in the military, they have a saying: you always teach the guy below you to replace you.
Yes. You make your own job obsolete.
Right.
Because if you don't, and you're looking for a promotion, and you're looking to move up, your superiors are going to look at you and say, there's nobody ready to replace him, so he needs to stay there.
Right.
So it's kind of this weird dichotomy of, I'm training everybody so that I can actually step out and just do nothing.
Right.
But that's so that it all gets better, and then I can actually move on and do other things and let other people fill in that gap. So.
And another thing that a lot of old sergeants, when I'm talking old sergeants, I'm talking these guys came up in Vietnam.
Sure.
All right. Sure. Vietnam era military. They didn't care. They wouldn't listen to you.
Yeah.
Their way or the highway, right? And I'm like, wait. That private, the first thing he's going to do, you give him a task, like go set up that tent, right? If he follows the instructions, it's hard as hell, right?
Yeah.
But I bet he figures out a way to make it that easy.
Yeah, much more quickly.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they'll come to me and say, hey, why don't we do this or this? And I'll say, we've tried that. It didn't work.
Yeah.
That's why I'm having you do it this way.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's what we've learned.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up. You can try it that way if you want, but you may run into the same problems we did. So I want you to try it this way. No, I like that. Yeah.
You know, and so, and the whole idea behind the military, we're training to break stuff. Lots of stuff, right? And we broke lots of stuff, right? But when you're training, you train like you're going to fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And part of that training is teaching people to be flexible.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to come down.
Decentralized command.
Yeah.
Allow them to make decisions in the field on their own if you're not there.
Right.
Right.
And not only that is that they know, hey, if Sarge gets knocked off, we got to do this.
Yep.
Right.
Here are the next steps.
Right.
Yep.
So that's what you teach them.
Yeah.
You know?
And you feel that the sergeants or other people in leadership positions who you started with did not share that sort of perspective. They were more of, I'm the boss, that's it. I don't care. I'm never getting knocked off, so you don't have to worry about it. I'll always be here, sort of that rigid mentality.
I even in Korea, you'd think 20 years later, that was in 1990, you had this E8 that was the motor sergeant, right? And he was a hard ass. He I call it, let the rank go to his head.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
His head wouldn't fit through the door unless he had a chainsaw.
Okay.
And this is in Korea, and every Friday we sit there, and in Korea you had to have a pass to leave post, right? Because it's still considered a war zone because there's no...
It's North Korea.
Right.
Because you were in Seoul?
We were in Tongashan, which was like 60 kilometers north of Seoul. We were like, I'd say 15, 20 kilometers from the border.
Okay.
All right.
Close enough. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, and there's still a curfew. Everybody had to be off the street by 1 o'clock a.m., right? Right. And I had this private, she liked to get lit up on Friday nights. She's a good tech, good mechanic, good soldier through the week. But Friday nights, she liked to get lit.
Yeah.
Right? That was her thing.
And was that not allowed?
No, that was allowed.
Okay.
But, so every Friday we'd have a safety briefing. If you're drunk and the MP's at the gate say, hey, give me your pass, just give them your pass, no problem, right? You hand over your pass, they escort you back to the barracks, you go lay down, don't give the MPs any trouble, just, right? She never would.
Right.
They'd take her pass, right? They'd write her on a blotter, say, well, this soldier came in totally stone drunk, right? And give the first sergeant a pass. Okay. And well, the first sergeant would give it to the platoon sergeant, which was the E8, right? And he'd give it to me. So that Saturday morning, I'd usually go get her pass from the seat.
So it's just a standing task now every Saturday morning.
I go get her pass, right? Right. Because in Korea, you ain't got your wife with you, you ain't got your kids with you. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, go get somebody's pass.
Go get somebody's pass. What else do I do?
Super Nintendo.
Right. I did that.
Street Fighter, F-Zero, Star Fox.
That's right. I did that. I didn't drink, and I wasn't single, so I wasn't going downtown playing with the Koreans.
Right.
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 So.
You weren't watching all that Korean cinema?
Heck no. So this one morning, he says, no, I ain't giving her a pass. Right? In fact, I'm going to give her an Article 15 because this is like the 5th time.
Okay.
And I'm like, what?
This is the MP.
This is her platoon sergeant.
Okay.
The guy above me.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm like, what? No, you're not. Yes, I am. I go, no, you're not. Give me your pass. And I go, we tell these people every day, if they don't give the MPs any trouble, it's no problem.
Yeah.
Right? And he goes, I don't care, it's the 5th time. I'm going to give it an Article 15. Like, what? So right across the quadrant, is the warrant officer, who is basically
Above him.
but he's the motor officer, so he's above him. He's like our lieutenant. We don't have a lieutenant. See, each platoon has a lieutenant.
Okay.
So our lieutenant was our warrant officer.
Okay.
I go beating on his door like it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and he was out getting toasted. He's single.
Yeah.
Right.
So we've already established from leadership that it's okay to do that.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So I go, nah. Sergeant Lilly said he's going to bus. I forget her name. I even forget. She's from Denver too.
Oh, really? Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Because she had a Colorado's Rockies jacket on. I said, who's that? Right. That's back in '94. Right. '93. I didn't know there was a new baseball team called
Right.
Rockies.
Because we were still living in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. So she. So I went over to the warrant officer. And I said, look, sir, Sergeant Lilly said he's not going to give her pass back, and he's going to give her an Article 15. And I go, that makes no sense. We stand there every Friday. Leadership, the captain, stands out there, right? Says, if you are drunk and you come through the gate and the MPs ask for your pass, give it to them and give them no problem. Mm-hmm. Nothing will happen to you.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
He gets pissed, walks across the street and says, give me your pass. Gives it to me, and I hand it to her.
Yeah. Did you have any problems with that?
No.
Who was it? It was
Sergeant Lilly.
He was what was his rank?
E8. Master Sergeant.
Master Sergeant, okay. Yeah.
One more time.
Yeah. Did he try it again?
No, he told me a starter couldn't short out a truck.
Oh, so it was a different thing. But he didn't give you any more problems about this particular individual.
But it was the same girl that was working on the truck.
Oh, so there may have been some retaliation there, some targeting.
You know, and she comes in and says, Sarge, every time I touch the battery post, they spark. I go, well, they're not supposed to do that. What did we change? She goes, we put a new starter in it. I go, okay, here, this is what I want you to do. Just pull all the wires off the starter, bolt them together, and touch the batteries. Tell me if they spark. Mm-hmm. She comes back and says, no, they didn't spark. I go, you got a bad starter. But Sarge, it's brand new. I go, I don't care. It's bad. Yeah. That's right. And he come out, just demeaning her in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And I got pissed.
Yeah. What'd you do?
I yelled at him in front of everybody.
Really? A superior officer?
I don't give a shit.
Well, I know you don't. Maybe that's why you only made E5.
Maybe. Right? He was totally in the wrong.
Yeah.
Right? And
but I bet you
But
did
she was my responsibility. I was her squad leader.
Right. But I bet you did it in a way that was still
I call him Sergeant.
Yeah. Yeah, that was still respectful of the title.
Right? Yeah. Sergeant, you're a fucking idiot.
Were those your exact words?
My fucking exact words.
Okay.
And he just...
Yeah.
I go, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And the warrant officer was in the office when I told him this. I told him, you're a fucking idiot. You don't know how to fix a truck. Why don't you just go away?
Right.
You cause more problems here than you're worth. Right? Okay. And warrant officer's over there. Holy shit, Sergeant, light this dude up.
Did you get in any trouble for any of that? Or
I did.
Yeah. Yeah, but you were looking out for her. So you decided that in this moment it was worth putting a little bit of your reputation or your rank or whatever on the line.
My reputation.
Yeah, on the line for her because you were looking out for her. And she was in the right, and she did exactly what you told her to, and somebody else came in to mess with it. And so what was the repercussions for you?
Oh, I think they restricted me to base for a week. I go, yeah, like I ever.
Yeah, you're like, all right.
All right.
Great.
I can't go down to my favorite model store.
Yeah, I have my Super Nintendo, so whatever. I'll play Street Fighter 2.
And it was him, not the first sergeant. The first sergeant come and asked me, what's the problem? And I told him, right? Goes, okay. And then the captain come and asked me, what's the problem? And I told him.
Yeah.
Right? I go, I'm sorry, this guy does not know how to fix a truck.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be in the position he's in. He's just, and I think I had like 2 or 3 months left in country. And just a month before that, we won Division Motor Pool of the Year.
Right.
So, in other words, he wasn't there at the time. He was like a new guy, right? He wasn't there at the time.
The guy who was giving her crap.
Right.
Okay.
He was not. He transferred in.
Yeah.
He got transferred to Korea.
So who levied the punishment against you? Was it your warden?
No, the EA.
The guy you yelled at.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because you knew something was coming.
He told me to go to my
Your room.
my room.
Think about what you
Go
did.
to your room and don't leave there except to the mess hall till I talk to you. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Fine.
Right. So he goes, and the first sergeant calls over, and we had a houseboy, a Korean houseboy, and he answers the phone. He comes, Sergeant Phillips, First Sergeant Munch. So truck over to the headquarters building. The first sergeant talks to me, and he already knows I'm a hothead. I'm a fucking hothead, right? Because I was sitting there. Other stories. All right. And he knew I was getting out, so I really didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Right. So he asked me what was going on. I said, that guy shouldn't be there. That guy don't know how to fix a damn toenail clipper.
Yeah.
Let alone a truck. Right? I go, he's stupid. And all he's going to do is drive your motor pool down, First Sergeant.
Yeah.
That's all he's going to do.
Yeah.
Right? And so I went back to work, and he went to the headquarters.
Yeah.
So they pulled him out of there to figure out why is it so bad. But he ain't the first one. Desert Storm, we got this C6 from the school in Aberdeen Proving Grounds, and I looked at him, and I was still in E5. I was the shop foreman at the time, right? And he's going to Saudi Arabia with us. We pick him up in Oklahoma, and I go, okay, what did you do in the school? Oh, I taught them how to troubleshoot the starting system of a deuce and a half. I go, what else? Well, that's all. That's all I had to do. I go, so do you know how to pull the pack out of that M88? No. Change the wheel seal on that deuce and a half? No. You know what? You're worthless to me.
Well, he was a superior officer as well?
He is a sergeant.
Well, do you think that he was a sergeant?
Yeah,
while you were
staff sergeant. I was
okay,
a sergeant.
so he was E6.
Yeah,
you were
he was
E5.
E6.
So, but do you think that you could have taken a different approach in which you said, okay,
No,
I will help you learn this stuff?
I tried
okay.
in the beginning, right?
Okay.
So the worthless came later in Saudi Arabia,
Gotcha. Okay.
right? So my motor sergeant was a black guy, and the strongest man I ever knew. He could pick up the back of my Mustang.
Yeah.
Right? I love Sergeant Holmes to death. Right? To this day, I respect that man. Right? And he was the Army weightlifting champion.
Okay. Because he practiced on your Mustang.
He practiced on my Mustang. But he was a sensible sergeant. You could talk to him.
Yeah.
You could tell him what's going on. And instead of getting after you, he'd help you figure out what to do about it.
Well, he would do kind of what you did was, here's what I want you to think about. Try taking the starter out, unplug everything, come back to me and tell me what you did. Yeah.
Right. No, once he knew how well, not to boast,
you were just the best. You were really good. No, you're not boasting. You were good at what you did. Yeah, absolutely.
Really good at what I did.
You had a very long established career from it.
He the first couple weeks I was there, he looks at me because I was a shop foreman, and he sees I'm kind of a hard ass because I'm like, whoa, what's with all this down equipment? Mm-hmm. Why are you people going home? And he looks at me and goes, what do you mean? I go, every unit I've been in, because I've been in combat units, this is my really first support unit, your ass don't go home until this is fixed. Yeah. Or every part, if it can't be fixed, everything possibly done is done. Yeah. Right? And he goes, your show.
Do it the way you want.
Right? Yeah. Well, I got in trouble for that. Because I had females. Oh. Second time in my military career, I had females. I walked out there and said, nobody's going home until all these A units are back up our parts.
Did they complain?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Right? What do you mean we got babysitters? And I go, should have set that up. You should have known about that. That's the military way. Yeah. What if we go to war tomorrow? Yeah. You're going to call your babysitter and say, hey, I ain't coming home? Right. Right?
Yeah.
Right? You should have this. Oh, man. So they all run to the lieutenant. The lieutenant comes down and says, Sergeant Phillips, let them all go home tonight. Me and you need to talk.
Yeah.
Okay, I let them all go home tonight. And she goes, you're in with women now, you can't do this. I go, bullshit, man.
Yeah.
I go, where did you go to school? And she goes, West Point. I go, you know better. You know better.
Yeah.
She goes, yeah, I know better. I go, we're sitting here at 60% of up readiness rating. Our readiness rating is 60%. That's not allowed.
Yeah.
Below 90, they panic. I don't even see why the colonel ain't down here jumping up and down on your desk.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And she goes, oh, we're a maintenance unit. They really don't care about it. Well, we should care.
Yeah. So we can do better. Yeah.
So for the next 2 weeks, they all stayed late till that stuff was done.
Good. Good.
Right?
Nice.
Right?
Good.
So I'm like, and that's really there in the first unit in Germany where I really found out that women can be good techs. Nothing wrong with that. But on light stuff, on cars, right? On Jeeps, right?
But the stuff that took heavy muscle and getting three guys on the pipes.
Yeah. They're not good at that.
Lifting a Fox body Mustang.
Yeah.
Right.
They're not built for that. And I'm not. I've seen some good women.
You don't need to justify any of it.
Yeah. But they just
It is
can't
what it
pick
is.
up a deuce and a half tire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's 120 pounds.
And before anybody gets mad, some can, and there are exceptions to every rule. We get it, but in general is what you're talking about. We're past an hour. You've been talking for an hour.
Really?
Can you believe that? Yeah. So let's probably call it here. But let me ask you one final question. Oh my God, Jarvis. See, now Jarvis is making tons of noise with his stick saddle. So let me ask you one final question. Other than the mechanical stuff you learned in the military, which we've already established has helped you gain a long and established career for a long time, even beyond that, what was like one of the main things that you learned from your experiences in the Army?
Treat people how you want to be treated. To get respect, you have to give respect. So if you respect your coworkers, the people you're working with, their ability, even when I was working for the city of Denver, we had a guy, not the sharpest tool in the drawer, but there's 3 things he had over a lot of other guys. You tell him what to do, he'd do it. You show him what to do, and he could do it. You ask him to stay late, he would, and he was always there, and he never bitched. All right? Could he figure out how to change the injectors on a SX-14 Cummins? Probably not. But if you showed him and took the time, he could, right? But that's kind of people that a lot of people would just shoo off.
Yeah, I don't got time for you.
I ain't got time. But he had qualities that a lot of the other guys didn't do. He's on time. He's always early. He would do what you asked him to do without giving you a rash of shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So your takeaway is everybody has sort of a place and they have their own.
Right. You just got to find their strengths.
Their strengths.
And play to their strengths.
Yeah.
He could do breaks.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian, go do the breaks.
Go to the breaks. Yep. We're not going to have you do this, but you're good at breaks. Go do
You
it.
could go do that.
We'll find somebody else to do it. That's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Ralph, you go change the injectors.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
No, I really like that. So to recap, you just said treat others like you want to be treated. To earn respect, you got to give respect. And then kind of the third one was to find people's strengths and draw it out.
And draw it out.
I would have worked for you. I would have enjoyed working for you.
Yeah.
When are you starting a business?
I'm not. I'm retired.
Well, did that work better than having you think of like 2 or 3 stories?
You know, because just thinking about some, I mean, I got stories on top of stories, on top of stories.
We'll do another clinic in which you just bring all of the funny stories, and we'll do that.
You know.
And then we'll do war stories that I have to censor half of it out.
You can tell when guys in the Army respect you.
Yeah.
They tease you.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
You know, that's one thing that's been hard for me to learn, I think, just growing up, because I got teased as a kid and not necessarily in that way, or maybe it was, but I was overly sensitive, and so it took me a while to learn that, oh, they're teasing me because they like me, because they enjoy my company, because they think I can take it, and they want me to dish it back. But it was tough for me to learn that lesson. I think it's harder for other people.
And in the Army, everybody didn't like me. I had one guy when I left Fort Sill to Korea. He walks up to me. He goes, Sergeant Phillips, I hate your fucking guts.
Yeah.
But I respect the shit out of you. I go, why? He goes, I didn't like you because you made me shine my boots. You made me press my uniform. You made me get out of bed. You made me do this. You make me do that.
Yeah.
But every time I came to you for a question, I had a question or needed to know something about a truck or something, if you didn't know it, you'd find it or you had it. Right?
Yep.
He goes, gotta respect that.
Right on. And you made him a better person for shining his boots too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, they don't have to do that shit.
Yeah, well, they probably should. Well, thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you all for listening. I know you have a million other stories, but I think this was a pretty good series of them, at least hearing your whole career. And I really enjoyed hearing about the leadership stuff. I don't think I've really asked you about that. I've heard some of the other funny stories and a lot of the mechanical stuff, but it was good to hear some of that. So thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time. So now you got to wave goodbye, Dad.
Goodbye.
I never do that.